I think it's time we have a talk about the birds and the bees, Tom. I think it's time we have that talk. Imagine having like a 15-year legacy and leaving to say, nah, I gotta go to Tampa Bay. I gotta go. You had a chance to go to the Titans and so many other teams, but you said, nah, I'm gonna head out. I'm gonna go to Tampa Bay because they got receivers. Tom. What the fuck are you looking at, bitch? Anyway, I might have to put you up for adoption. I mean, I've never seen such stupidity to that level. You might not even win the division, Tom. You over here thinking, oh, I want to win again and prove something. Tampa Bay ain't the place to prove something. Talking 10-6, maybe. I mean, what's wrong with you? Oh my God, how many times we gotta have these conversations? Oh man, let's talk about this crazy NFL free agent.
You know, every time that I wanted to sit down and make this video explaining the entire NFL free agency and all of this craziness, and probably maybe the craziest NFL free agency ever, I found myself, I would go to the bathroom and say, I'm going to come back and record this video. And there would be 15 different moves that happen in that 2-minute time span, okay? This is late Wednesday. There will still probably be moves going on, but all of the, or at least I feel, crucial moves have happened at this point. Now, according to the thumbnail and the intro, you know that this is going to be centered around Tom Brady, or at least we're going to talk about, in this video, most of the free agent signings and trades, and basically the pros and cons of either of them, pros being how this player is going to impact his new team and how he's going to possibly leave his old team in the dust. The first one is definitely the most important one, at least the media will tell you, and that is Tom Brady. Tom Brady has left the New England Patriots, and he's going to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, I believe everybody wants to sit here and crap on this entire move, but let me explain to you something. This is not the worst move he could have made. It was certainly not the best, and I know there's a lot of bias to this, but I think that the best move he could have made was go to the Titans, because he already knew the coach. Great running back, young wide receivers, good defense. It was all there for him on the Titans. But the Titans instead decided to re-sign Ryan Tannehill, which is not something that disappoints me either, because we know the value of Ryan Tannehill and everything that he brought. The problem with the Titans re-signing Ryan Tannehill is that they gave him a Supermax 4-year deal. And I'm not ready to do that after 10 games. Now, I don't know if that's because the Titans are so desperate for this level of success that they finally have achieved, or they really think that Tannehill is the answer. I don't think he's not the answer, but I don't know if he's going to be a guy that's going to be hanging from the rafters in Nashville with a Hall of Fame speech somewhere down the line in the future. 4 years is a long time. But I think the most crucial year for Ryan Tannehill is going to be the second one, to prove that these 10 games weren't just, just a fluke. I don't think they were. I think that he will be very good for us next year. But there's a lot of names and faces, particularly quarterbacks, that have moved around up to this point. But like I said, the first one is Tom Brady signing a 2-year, $30 million deal with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He will be surrounded by a lethal group of wide receivers. He will also be surrounded by a good veteran coach, Bruce Arians. Now, he will never go to a coach that is better than Bill Belichick, but he is on Tampa Bay. Now, if he wanted nice weather, he had other options, but I don't know if the Chargers was a better option. Now, what does this do for Jameis Winston? This puts Jameis Winston in a position to where he will most certainly be on the bench. But is it just after these 2 years, is Tom Brady going to retire? Because from that standpoint, unless he wins anything less than a Super Bowl for Tampa Bay and Tom Brady, was kind of a waste. Now, yes, I know people that are already buying the Brady jerseys in Tampa Bay. Okay, that is very cool. And it's going to be very interesting to see how different it is, because I know that Tampa Bay's schedule coming up, they're facing a lot of the elitists. They have to play the Saints twice a year. They have to deal with Rodgers this year. I'm not sure if they play the Ravens. Again, I'll have to look at that, but it adds an interest level, certainly to the AFC East, because now the Buffalo Bills have to be the favorite. I mean, the Patriots are now in a position to where they don't have a quarterback. They will either have to draft one late in the first round or whenever their pick is, or they will have to fish out other options. Now, one of the options is, I'm going to get to in a minute when I talk about the deal, is Jacoby Brissett, Cam Newton, and just different other guys that are still available that should help your team succeed. The Saints re-signed Drew Brees, 2-year, $50 million deal. You can sign me up for that deal. Okay, how you doing? Saints re-signed Drew Brees. He will stay for 2 more years, and I believe that this is his last contract in NFL. And after these 2 years, he will retire, regardless of what happens. I think Drew Brees wants another Super Bowl, but it's going to be very interesting to see him play Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers twice a year now. They may even run into them in the playoffs. This adds a level of intrigue to the NFL that is very different, because a lot of people think the NFC South is a garbage can, and it really is, to be honest with you. It's not good. The Panthers are not good. Buccaneers haven't really been good. The Saints are great, and I'm losing one. What is the other team in the NFC South? I'll remember it later at a different time period. But the NFC South is a garbage can, and we all know that. So him re-signing adds a level of intrigue as well, because now he will be battling with Tom Brady twice a year. The Panthers are, quote-unquote, moving on from Cam Newton. How do we know that? Because they're adding Teddy Bridgewater. So I think a lot of this had to do with the fact of Drew Brees re-signing. Bridgewater said he was good enough, and he saw the opportunity to go to another team. I'm not quite sure how I feel about him on the Panthers, but it's a fresh start, and it gives him that opportunity on a team that is not horrible, but definitely needs improvement. Kyle Allen, I don't think is the long-term answer for the Panthers. I think a lot of us don't think that. I think that Teddy Bridgewater, I don't know if he will be the long-term answer, but they're giving him a 1-year deal. And the question is, where does Cam Newton go from here? I think one of the hot spots for him to go prior to what happened today would have been Chicago. But now it is looking very slow for Cam Newton. The Chargers need a quarterback. The Patriots need a quarterback. But are the Patriots the type of team where Bill Belichick, could he straighten out somebody like Cam Newton? Because I do believe that there's a very toxic energy between Cam Newton and the Panthers. At least that's what has been displayed. So I definitely, without a doubt, think that Cam Newton is leaving the Panthers, especially now because I think Teddy Bridgewater will honestly beat him out. I think that he's hungry and he wants to prove that he can win on his own, as he did with the Saints on a team that is just not as good. I was always a fan of the character and his style of play, but Marcus Mariota being my quarterback was not something that was good. He was not a good quarterback for the Titans. He had good memories. He did different things, and I'm very grateful that we had to experience Marcus Mariota on the Titans. But Marcus Mariota is now going to be competing with someone different. Marcus Mariota has signed with the Raiders, and he will be competing with Derek Carr for the starting quarterback position. And I don't think this is one he will win either. Unless anything happens to Derek Carr, I am assuming that Derek Carr will probably beat out Mariota. So Mariota essentially is probably going to be going to another backup job on a team that is not as good as the team he was on before. So I don't really understand that a little bit, but I'm sure he's going into it thinking I need to beat out Carr. But Carr is not a bad quarterback. He's had a lot of bad luck, but I don't think he's an awful quarterback. John Gruden and Marcus Mariota is going to be a fun development to see play out. I think a lot of us should be looking forward to see what happens there. And just this whole NFL free agency has really shaked some stuff up to the core. And it's really going to be interesting to see going forward. Mariota is going to be competing with Derek Carr as of right now on the Oakland Raiders to see who will be their quarterback. The Titans seem like, prior to this move, they were probably going to be the favorite, and I still think they are, in the AFC South, because the Texans got weaker because they sent DeAndre Hopkins over. The Texans, who've done a lot of boneheaded things this towards the late year and to now, has decided to get rid of DeAndre Hopkins for absolutely a bag of chips. That is a bad move. DeAndre Hopkins, let's add to that real quick, is going to the Arizona Cardinals, and I'm very interested to see how he will develop with Kyler Murray. I think that is going to be a fun thing to watch. I think the Cardinals are making the right moves to try to build their team in the near future. But that is something that is going to be interesting to watch. But like I was saying before I jump to that one, Phillip Rivers is coming to the Colts, and he's going to make the AFC South probably a showdown between the Titans and Colts, because I think the Texans will not be relevant, and I damn sure don't see the Jaguars, who got rid of Nick Foles today as well, being any relevant. I think Gardner Minshew is overrated, and I've always thought that. That has not changed, and I do not think that will. Phillip Rivers is coming to the Colts, and it's going to be an AFC South showdown. It's going to be, I think that is a great place for Phillip Rivers to go, and it makes things interesting, but it also puts Jacoby Brissett in a position where he is going to most certainly have to find a new job, and he is a good enough quarterback to where I think he would fit perfect in New England. I think that the Patriots should try to get Jacoby Brissett back, and I think that he will add something special, and we already saw what he's capable of on the Colts, to the Patriots. Titans, another move. This is not a huge move, but they signed a linebacker who had talent but hasn't had good success recently. Vic Beasley from the Falcons, the Titans signed a linebacker to improve off of what was a one-year deal. The Cowboys are going all in, but is he really worth this much? The Cowboys are re-signing Amari Cooper to a 5-year, $20 million deal. It is a lot of money, but he showed that he is more than capable of being a good level of talent in the NFL, and especially for the Cowboys. He is a viable option for Dak Prescott. Maybe the worst move of free agency so far is the Bears giving Jimmy Graham $8 million to play 1 year at tight end. The Chicago Bears are desperate, and this shows exactly why they are desperate. Jimmy Graham has been an injury-ravaged superstar who no longer is going to show the levels of success that he once did. And this is the Bears' desperate attempt of trying to get a player that has some name value for a cheap price. But $8 million a year is a lot on somebody that probably won't play 10 games this season. The Dolphins also make some good moves as well. The Dolphins have added Byron Jones, who's a top corner, to go next to Xavier Howard, and they've also signed Patriots linebacker Kyle Van Noy. So the Dolphins are bolstering that defense that was atrocious this year. That is a good thing to see. The Dolphins seem like they're making the right moves and the right headspace to try to propel them out of what was a disastrous season that was somewhat better, at least in the second half of the season. Other moves, one I'm going to mention up, Chris Harris Jr. was reportedly rumored to be heavily favored to go to the Eagles. Didn't happen. He went to the LA Chargers. The Eagles have lost Malcolm Jenkins as well. Malcolm Jenkins signed with the Saints, and the Saints are continuing to bolster that defense, and he is back home. And the Eagles are just not really seeming to do anything right in this free agency. Does Jason Witten have anything left? Well, that's going to have to be left to be seen, because the Raiders just signed him at tight end. I don't think he'll be starting, not over Darren Waller. But the Raiders are definitely making moves as well. The Titans do, I guess you could call it a salary dump, but they lose one of their good veterans. The Broncos have signed Jarrell Casey. It stings a little bit because Jarrell Casey's been on the Titans for a solid duration of time. And, the Broncos have signed him. I think he'll fit well. That defense, has to improve because the defense has been so good, but for the names that they have, they should be better. But the Broncos have lost a lot in the last year. And that's pretty much it, all I've got here right now. Another one is Nick Foles going to the Chicago Bears. He'll be battling Trubisky, who I think is not going to win the battle against Nick Foles. This is a chance for Nick Foles to go back and really have a solo position on a team. These are all I got right now. There's plenty of other ones with smaller names, but I appreciate everybody watching. I'm going to try to catch my breath because I just talked for like 12 minutes straight. This has been your free agency review. Stay safe, stay smart, stay green.